once again. I need a Red Bull for this one, for sure. Let me get there. I want to talk today because so many people instant message me about this stuff. And I'm grabbing a Red Bull. Uh, so many people want to know what's going on with my money and with what's how did I go from making minimum wage and not having a lot of money to having a bunch of money and what it takes to do that. And everybody keeps asking about Bitcoin and stocks are important and everything, but I really want to talk about how to do it, how to actually get yourself in this position. And the first steps are not involving investments. And everybody comes to me, they're like, I've got this much money, it's some amount of money, and then I realize after I talk to them a little while that they really don't necessarily have that amount of money. They may have other things that are going against it, and the the key to getting out of this bullshit and having enough money to quit, which is what everybody wants to do, uh, is not actually on the investment side. That comes at the very end, which luckily I'm at the very end. But I want to talk to you about the beginning, about what it's like to prepare yourself to be able to become an investor and to start having your money make things for you. And that's really important, and there are a lot of steps involved with that shit that do not involve stocks whatsoever. So we're going to create a scenario here. This is Excel. It's everybody's favorite piece of shit software that winds up dominating most businesses' administrative staff and all their time. It's horrible. I'm not going to be teaching you how to use Excel. Fuck that. I'm just going to use Excel here to fucking tell you how I did this and how some of you guys who are always instant messaging me and shit about your finances, what you need to do. Because every time that, again, I'm going to repeat this one more time for people who are coming in this motherfucker. Um, exactly, you guys are talking about all that shit, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. I don't want to talk about money working for you. That's the end. I want to talk to you guys about what you need to do to get to the point where you can make investments and stuff. Because if I hadn't done all that shit, I would be nowhere right now. And nobody ever talks about the fundamentals of how to get into the position where you can start making your money work for yourself. So I've got this shitty program. Let's get going. We're gonna make uh, a scenario up. So this is gonna be person one. This person is going to be probably, they may be better off than you. They may be worse off than you. That's not the point. I'm modeling it based on an older version of myself. So this is something to understand. And uh, the way you need to look at your monthly activities and your net worth is the most important thing to begin. It has nothing to do with investments, it has nothing to do with Bitcoin or any of this. It has everything to do with what do you do every month. That is what it's all about. Because if you can change these numbers and how they work, then you can start going down the investment path. And the investment path, the first thing you do is buy a house. It is the first thing you do, and I'll show you why. Because what you want to do is you want to eliminate crap from the expenses column. So we're going to put expenses here, and we're going to put income, and this is going to be monthly. So imagine that person one has a one job that makes $50,000 a year. It doesn't matter what the amount is. I'm going to tell you that right now. I make a little more than that, and some people make less than that. The amount doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's what's at the bottom of this bitch that matters. That's going to fucking make it for you. So you've got expenses and you've got income. And we're going to have the amount here and what it is. So uh, actually, we're just going to call this, this should go down here if we're going to really think about this. So this is monthly. So in 2000 or so, long, long ago, when I started thinking about this and not doing it really correctly, but I started thinking about it, uh, I realized how much money I was spending every month on shit. And that is something that you have control over that in a way. You have a control over what your expenses are. So let's start going over some expenses. Rent is an expense. And I'm also going to put the now on there of what I do. Or I'm just going to put me in my real life uh, over here just to let you know how much money I spend on these things. That'll be a goose egg there, and there's a reason you want to get to that point. Um, Rent can be any number of dollars. Right around now, if you have a family, it's going to cost you between 1,000 and 1,200 where I live to get a house rented. Renting an apartment is cheaper. It's like $800 here. Every place you are located can change this amount and stuff, but you've got an amount here. Let's make an imaginary amount of $800 a month for whoever this person is. And then we've got internet. And internet generally runs between $40 and $100 a month, depending on the speed and where you are and all that shit. We're going to give this guy $50 a month on internet. Guess how much I spend? None, because my company takes care of it. How much will I spend after retirement? It's going to be $50 to $70 a month. I'm just going to put 70 because I like fast internet. So right now, paying dick for internet. And that's something I've done for myself because I got a company paying for the internet. And uh, you got your phone, and I got dick on that too because of the company paying for that. But afterwards, I'm going to be paying about $50 a month for phone. That's what normal people pay for phone service. You can get a little cheaper, a little better. We're just going to throw 50 on there for phones. It's for each phone in your family, you're going to have to pay for that phone unless your company is paying for your phone. So I can't tell you who we work for, but our companies pay for our phones. And that, if you can get that to happen, the thing we didn't do, and a lot of people in our companies do, is they have their own personal phone and their work phone, and they're carrying two phones around. You've seen these yahoos around with their fucking two phones. That's retarded. What are you doing? You think your company's going to spy on your phone calls? They're not going to fucking do that. What are you doing on your phone that's worth $50 to hide from your company? You shouldn't be doing it. You should be saving that money. Dump that other plan. That's easy money. Easy money right there if you've got a company paying for your phone. So just keep that in mind. Knock that bitch down to zero with the phones, but that's a thing that people pay for. You've got your water. I don't know how much people are paying for water. I'm just going to assume they're paying $40 a month for water. You got your trash. You got to pay for trash unless it's included in your rent. That shit is probably going to be about $40 a month as well. Then you've got your fucking electricity. Let me tell you something about that shit. My electric bill, when I arrived in this house that I bought that was fucking decaying and fucking decrepit house, this fucking house was condemnable when I bought that shit because of the amount of damage by water that was done to it. So I found a fucking really cheap ass house and I rebuilt the thing. You don't have to do that though. But the electric bill on this bitch was $500 a month because of all the damage, all the leaks in the air, and all of the ceiling problems, and all of the old equipment, all the mold that ended up getting into the insulation. All that shit fucked my electricity bill. Fixing your electricity bill by by weatherproofing your house and by energy proofing your house if you're not renting is huge. If you're renting an apartment or something, your electric bill is probably around 200 a month at the most. But for me, it was $500 a month, and now it's 200. So I'm going to pop that 200 here and that 200 here. But note that when I started in this fucking bitch, it was 500 a month. So I am now not spending 300 a month that I was spending before. Guess where that money goes? It goes straight into the fucking savings, which is what you need to do. So you got your electricity. Then you've got childcare. You might get a zero for that. Our guy here, our person one, doesn't have any kids. But let me tell you something that I did not know. Childcare is not that fucking expensive. When you look at all the shit we've bought that specifically we would not have purchased if UNIT didn't exist, and how we did it, It's not much. I think we probably spent her first year like $3,000 on her, maybe 3,500 if you include the hospital bills. And and then the next month it was even cheaper. Diapers only cost like 500 bucks for us the whole time. That's not a lot. We still have some leftovers 'cause I did buy them all in bulk at the beginning of that shit. And you should be buying warehouse shit when you have kids. And you should be getting used clothes. Kids don't, until they're 5 or so, they don't know what a name brand is. So don't buy them fucking Baby Gap. There's no reason for that. They don't give a shit. Wait till they're teenagers and they start complaining about their fucking brands before you start giving into that shit. So that's another thing that I'm currently. I'd probably say I spend about $3,000 to $4,000 a year on childcare, and that is not going to change. It's going to go up. It'll probably be like 4,000 by the time I actually retire because kids get more expensive as they age. They go into like programs, they get new teachers, after school activities, they get fucking vehicles and clothes brand names and all that shit and toys and computer games and shit. You gotta fucking keep it rolling, and the more the older they get, the more they want. Right now, she don't know that she want anything, but truth is, uh, that she'll get more expensive over fucking time. Yes, enjoy, enjoy that toilet comp. You fuck take that dump, take it right here. Uh, so then we got recreation, or like I'll just put Steam here in my case. I spend between $100 and $200 a month on Steam. Just gonna, but person one here uh, may be smarter. This is an expense they can cut. I'm just gonna assume they also waste money on video games. So that's a lot of money to spend on video games, but it's still it's an expense that maybe they can cut. Maybe they can get rid of that shit. So TV, that TV package or streaming package or whatever you got. Who knows how much that you've got fucking going monthly for that shit. I don't know, but that shit costs money, and uh, you got to fucking consider it. I haven't had a TV or streaming service that I've paid for by a subscription since 2000. So that'd be a goose for me again, and I'm not going to start doing it. The internet covers my need for media as far as I'm concerned, and it's been that way forever. If you think about how much money I've saved since fucking 2000 when I quit television. It's now 2021, so let's just do this. Equals 50 times 12 months times 21 years. $12,600 I have saved just not watching television. And I've also not had to deal with all that poor programming and all that shitty advertisement in my life. I got more time than I could do other shit that's more fun than watching television. So you can still watch a motherfucker on Twitch for free unless you subscribe to them. In which case, you fucking put that also in here. Because if you're subscribing to a motherfucker, you're paying them money on the monthly or whenever you feel like it. It's a nice thing to do, but it's a fucking expense. So be aware of that. It's not like uh, something that you can't control or whatever. You can definitely remove that expense from your life. All right, you've got food. And in my life, I spend quite a fucking bit on food, actually. I'd say I probably spend about $650 a month on food. That's a lot of money on food. But honestly, if you're living by yourself, if you don't have a family, if you don't need to eat fucking filet mignon steaks or shrimp all the time, like, then you can spend less on food. My family prioritizes food as one of the luxury items that we put more money into than other people. So I spend a little more on food. We basically eat whatever the fuck we want. But that's not service. So we're going to get into service in a little bit. This is like groceries. So, and $600 is a lot of money. I understand that. You probably don't spend that much on groceries. I would say that this person one who is single, who does not have a family, uh, they could probably get away very easily spending $300 to $400 a month and could cut it even if they want to. The buying lesser grade food though, will affect your ability to
You
maintain the
bitch.
fucking course in your life of getting things done. And you are wasting money. The desk right here is fucking flushing it right down the toilet, giving it to me. It's going into my income out of their income right there. That could have been avoided. Fucking let that be a lesson to all the rest of you motherfuckers. What you're doing in your life, spending money on these goddamn streamers. We're not worth it. Not gonna tell you that next time because I'm gonna be playing a game and I'm gonna be like, yeah, give me my Steam money. Because in the end, that's where this comes from. My budget on games is high right now because I do stream and I do make money playing games too. That's a different thing. But this guy here, person one, loves games, and I also think it's a healthy thing. You need something, and if you need TV and you don't need games, move that. But you gotta have something for yourself in there somewhere, or you're gonna go fucking crazy. So far, this is a bunch of money. How much money have we got already on this bitch? Of course we can't see it because the motherfucking start menu's in the way. Fucking hate this bullshit. I'm gonna fucking put this in here. It's $1,800 so far is what this Yahoo's spending every month in here. This is yearly, by the way, child care. So hold on, let me change that 3,000 to what it really is. It's 3,000 divided by 12. Come on, don't be retarded. There we go. I'm spending about $200 a month on childcare. That is actually accurate. It's very accurate. And that doesn't include formula or whatever. And by the way, she ain't on formula anymore. But she started sharing our food now, which makes it even less expensive. You don't have to buy formula or her own thing. Like, what happens is the first year is a spike in expense, and then it goes down and down and down until they're around school age, and then it goes back up again. But really fucking I do buy kegs. That's true. That's actually though part of this groceries. That's why I'm spending more than you guys on groceries too, or most people, because I buy as much beer as I want, and that definitely counts as a item. This Red Bull's an item. All that stuff can be cut if you need to cut it, but the idea is to get this down to way less than what you're making, way less. You want this to be something that you can fucking manage. Now here we go services. Good lord, do people spend money on this shit? So, what are services? Services are when you have someone else do your work for you. Something that you're perfectly capable of doing or it's so stupid that you don't know how to do. That can be anything between fixing your car to fucking going out to eat and having someone cook food for you or basically all the things we did before COVID-19 happened are services. Now we're sitting in our fucking houses doing them for ourselves. Those things. Like, even if you go to a bowling alley, you are paying for someone else to fucking clean those balls and set those pins up for you. You could just as easily set up a game of bocce ball or whatever the fuck in your backyard and not have to pay that fee. But it's more fun to go to a place like that. So you gotta fucking understand that services cost money. Nightclubs, if you're fucking looking for love or whatever, and dating, oh god, that's an expense. An expense you don't need if you find the right girl either. Like, Kyle didn't cost a bunch of money. I like to get her time. That was nothing. Like she just hang out in my apartment. We'd play Final Fantasy Tactics and shit. That was fun. That's better than a date because you could do it for 8 hours and then have even more fun afterwards if you know what I'm talking about. So, like, you find the right girl, it ain't gonna cost you shit. If you find someone that wants to buy a bunch of shoes or whatever, and this goes for boys too who are fucking just sitting around wanting to spend some girl's money as well. It does happen. This is 2020. You got fucking dudes taking advantage of girls just as easy at this point. So that you can flip that right on its head. But if you're buying someone a bunch of fucking dinners out and shit and movies or whatever, then you're buying services. And all that is just other people working for you. Essentially, you're employing them. And people don't understand that your fucking financial self as a whole, that shit is a motherfucking business in reality. You are a business. Whether you know it or not, you should treat yourself like a business. Because if you do that, you're going to wind up profiting out the ass. Because that's what people who run businesses want to do. So if you sit and you treat your life like a business and you try to maximize your profits, you're going to wind up in a good fucking place. But let's say that this guy fucking goes out to eat like twice a week and that's like fucking that's at least $40 a week. And then so that's fucking like 200 bucks plus they can't fix their own vehicle, so add another fucking $100 a month to that. And we'll get into vehicle. We'll actually put the vehicle. No, the vehicle goes into services in this case because again, if you fix your own fucking car, it doesn't cost anything. So I fix my own cars. Someday I'll show you motherfuckers how to fix cars. When I'm retired and I got time, we'll fucking open up electric car. We'll open up a internal combustion car. We'll fucking look at how to fix those fucking pieces of shit. Because you can do it. You can fix them. You can go on YouTube and fucking look right now. Some other motherfucker will tell you how to fix a car. Just type in the issue, type in the model. Some bitch in their garage will tell you how to fix it. That's the age we're living in now. If you've got the fucking resources and the ingenuity to fuck get that shit done for yourself on the side, you're gonna save yourself a shit ton of money. Let's just say that homeboy here spends $300 a month on services, various services, fucking people doing shit for him and or her. And we'll fucking move right along to transportation. Transportation is another fucking expense, and you gotta understand it. Let's go back to services. How much money do I spend on services? Dick! That's right. I don't spend dick on services. All right, so that is amazing. I have not spent money on services for like 2 years now because of COVID and a few other, like, we went back and we just do not spend money on services. I maybe can't think of anything. I got my piano tuned. I did. That was a service. So I guess that'd be like 10 bucks. Oops. But honestly, because you got to divide it out by 12 months. So there are a few things I've had other people do, but almost nothing. Literally nothing. So like services, huge place you cut out of your life. You've got transportation. Again, guess what it is? It's dick. But if you've got a fucking if you've got a fucking gas eating car, that's gonna be your gas. If you fucking drive a bus or go on the metro or whatever the fuck, that's your pass. All that shit counts. I got an electric car, so guess where my fucking transportation expenses are? They're right up there in the motherfucking electric place over here. Well, it's down. God damn it! I don't know what way I'm pointing. It's down there. Stupid fucks. Like, that's where my transportation expenses are because I have a fucking electric car. So I got a Leaf because it's really cheap and used and like it works real nice, but I don't pay shit. So once again, fuck all goes right into that. Oh, that's not him. That's me. So assuming that you drive a car like 20 miles a day to work, and like that's nice. That's a decent commute. And assuming that you get 20 miles to the gallon, you're buying a gallon of gas every time you go to work. You're going to work 20 times. Plus, you're also going wherever you go on the weekend, especially if it's not COVID. And if you're in COVID, you can take this away. You sit your car in a fucking parking spot and be done with it. But in reality, you're gonna be spending some money driving around. Let's say that homeboy here is fucking driving 20 miles a day. So that guy is going to end up spending $3 a day times 30 days. It's like $90 of money a month that he's spending on gasoline, and then his taxes or whatever. But taxes are a different fucking thing. So we're getting to be a lot of fucking money here in this shit, and this is all based on an American model of money that this guy currently is spending. Let's move in. Uh, we've got transportation here. I mean, God, what was the next one? I was thinking it wasn't transportation. It's something else. Uh, tax. Got to put this in here. Now, tax. What I'm talking about, non-payroll tax, because non-payroll tax is a thing, and it happens to rich people more than it happens to people who are making it by every day. So most people just think of tax as the shit they take out of your check. But unfortunately, if you have a zero in your rent, you have something in your tax. So I have to pay property tax. I pay $2,000 a year of property tax. So that property tax has to be divided out per month as an expense. So whatever that is, divided by fucking 12 is equal to that. That's how much I have to pay for rent once you own your house. It doesn't seem like much. It's not, but it still counts. So it's still something that needs to be there. Um, by the way, um, I have combined costs for these water and trash. So it's funny that that's the way it is. Mine all get combined, but let's just assume they're the same because they are. And let's yep, that's good. So far, Homeboy here, I'm paying $1,390 a month so far, but we're not done yet. And this guy is spending $2,220 a month. And that is a significant difference. Uh, but anyway, I've got that tax. This guy is probably not paying any non-payroll tax. I don't count sales tax in here at all. I'm counting mostly property tax and automobile taxes, which are like registration and shit. Registration is so little. It's $20 a month here, or $20 a year here, excuse me, which comes out to like $2 a month. So I would have to add this. I'd have to add one to this. It's not even worth doing, but I'm going to do it just to make sure to include that shit. But we got that shit here, and again, we'll fill out that retirement thing in a second. So now we've got capital. What is capital? I should read the chat a little bit too before I go on with that speech. Capital is shit like a fucking laptop computer, or a fucking television, or a car. Something that you buy that you have as an item that retains some value and depreciates in value over time. Capital can be used to determine your net worth. Some things, like your home, may appreciate in value instead of depreciate in value like your fucking car. And certain things, when you buy certain types of them, will depreciate at lower rates than others. So you got fucking Blight Binge out there with his fucking Tesla that he wants to buy. That bitch is going to depreciate at far less of a value than if I was to buy a Jeep or something like that with gasoline in there. So the Jeep, the next model year after, if you try to resell that thing, that bitch is going to drop 20-30% in value compared to the Tesla. Than fucking Amazon for me to see how much money I'm spending on capital. And I spend $4,000 a year on shit. That's what I've spent. So whatever that is equals this divided by 4,000 divided by 12, whatever that is. And that's $333 a month that I'm spending on shit. Like, for example, this lovely fucking chat monitor that's here. I bought that. That's capital. And these computers, some of them are from work. That's not capital. But if it's something I bought, like this giant ass computer I bought 4 years ago, capital. All that ends up when you end up summing up all the shit you have, because you do have to do that at one point to figure out how much you're worth. You add that to it, but it also takes away from you every month. Takes away from that shit. And oh god, I forgot about that. I don't even want to talk about that. But debt. That is by far the killer. But you want this if you have this guy here. This one here, that's the worst. If this is on your list, if I'm talking to you right now and you're talking about, oh, if you want to make not working in your life anymore happen, and I'm sure that that's most of you, because most of us still are working or are not working and not making money at this point. I'm not even retired yet. But if this is a reality for you, if you're paying rent, who cares what the number is? That doesn't matter what the number is. If you're paying rent, you're fucking up. Because if there's any way that you can get into a situation where you're paying off a loan instead of paying rent, this goes away from expenses and goes into investments. I can just put this here, which so far none of this is an investment. Technically, you could consider capital to be an investment if it's something like a house. But most of the time, It's not. You buy a boat, that's going to depreciate in value, whatever. But the point is, this fucking rent, that is target number one for you. You obviously can whittle all this shit down, and you should, to get to the point where you can take care of this. If it's more than 800, fuck, you're getting even more fucked over. You're getting bent right over. You need to drop this thing down to this. That's what you need. You need $167 for housing. That would be the fucking ideal situation. And uh, the way you do that is by taking on debt. All other debt is bad. It is bad. Do not take a car loan. Buy a used car. You can get a car for $1,000 that will run. You are better off buying that $1,000 car and using that fucking $1,000 car. Oh, and we need to, yeah, you're better to take that $1,000 car and fucking run it into the ground and buy another $1,000 car than you are buying a car on a loan. Believe me, I am 100% confident of this. You want to keep this out of your life, any other debt. Don't go into debt for school if you can help it, because school's not going to give you the return on your investment people say it is. You need to take and get a job while you're in school and try to save money and pay for school that way. Go to a cheaper school. The name of your school, I swear to God, it doesn't mean shit. You think anyone has ever said, University of North Texas, we'll hire you? Fuck no. Nobody cared. It could have been fucking Winona Community College or whatever the fuck. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a motherfucking shit what college you went to, except for elitist shitholes. They're not going to be hiring you. Elitist shitholes don't work. Newsflash, they don't. I mean, some of them do, but they're not really working. They're they're, they're not going to fucking hire you. Trust me. So fucking don't waste any money on fucking student loans. It's a big fucking horseshit waste of money. And don't fucking go into credit card debt. Whatever you fucking think you need, you don't fucking need that. Don't go into fucking credit card debt. If you're sitting there fucking living in your car, I don't know. That's a. Do you go into credit card debt? I'd say no. Find someone to help you is what I would say. Someone will help. But there are a few instances where credit card debt is excusable, but in general it's not. I don't have any credit card debt. I haven't had credit card debt for 18 years. I have one credit card with an $800 limit. Fuck credit cards. Fuck them. Fuck them so much. Fuck a credit card. But anyway, most people have debt. So who knows what this guy's debt is, but whatever it is, you're probably making payments on it. So let's just imagine this guy's got 5K in debt. He might have that amount. Oh my God. Come on now. Don't be retarded. All right. Come on. Negative $5,000. So this is all dependent on what your payment plan is. And when you start going into what you have left over, the places that needs to go that's the key. When we're going to get to that, I'm probably going to have to do this another hour, unfortunately, to get through all this shit that I want to fucking get off my chest. Again, there's been too many instant messages about investments from people who aren't ready to invest. So we got to get this all tackled first. We got more shit here. But if you've got this, it's bad. You definitely want to get rid of this and get this. So, for example, if you bought a $100,000 home and you took out a mortgage that makes you pay $300 a month, then you are definitely reducing the amount of money you're paying every month, and that's great. But even more so, what you can do is increase that payment back to what you were paying rent and get your loan paid off sooner. That way, this debt goes away from debt, and all you end up is a big goose here and some taxes to pay, and that's it. That's excellent. All right, we've got insurance, and that goes into transportation too. So I categorize it separately. I pay $40 a month for my car insurance for everybody in my family. That's a very cheap rate because I haven't hurt anybody or broken anything or taken a claim out for my time. You may have more insurance. A lot of people pay more money for insurance for their cars and their home. This is all encompassing, includes my home too. I know it seems ridiculous, but I have very good insurance rates. So health insurance is another thing, and that's a shit ton. But it comes right out of your paycheck usually. So I'm gonna, if you're not in paycheck, you're going to need to pay some amount per month. It's probably something in the ballpark of $350 to $400 a month, depending on how old you are. And right now, um, since everything I'm dealing with is take-home pay oriented with this, so I'm just going to go ahead and slap this on here. We're going to assume this person has a job, so we're also going to put a 0 here. Even though they are definitely paying into this, it's going to be take-home pay we're looking at. So we're not going to do that. That's why we're not including the payroll tax here either. All right, well let's get in a lot of expenses. If we get rid of that negative 5,000 and look at all this shit, this guy's spending 2,340 bucks a month on shit, and so far I'm spending $1,900 dollars a month on shit, and then we end up thinking about whatever else there is that costs money. What else costs money, guys? I don't think there ain't money. I'll save the spreadsheet. Don't worry. Uh, but this shit can all be reduced. And I'm living a life of luxury right now compared to what I used to. I used to not have childcare. I used to spend less on Steam. I used to spend way less on groceries. And I used to spend way less on capital. But still, right now, I am spending less than half of what I make on anything. Way less. I'm not going to say how much I make, but it's way less than half. And this person right now, how much do they need just to meet this per year? To meet this amount, they need 2340 times 12. I'm going to put required here at this time, and we can always change what's required by removing their fucking TV or removing their fucking phones or removing things. We can reduce the amount required. But this is going to be equal to the sum of this shit over here. All of this except for the debt and all of this shit too. Okay, so this guy is required to get $2,340 a month, which translates roughly to a take-home pay requirement of $1,170 every 2 weeks. If we divide that by 80, the guy needs to make $14.62 an hour to keep afloat, which a lot of people are under that and have to do less, which means guess what they get? No services. They get less food. They get generic crap. They get $100 of Steam or no Steam. They get crappy fucking pay by the minute phone shit. That's what you get stuck in, but you got to do it. If you're stuck and you've got less money than this, which an hour, which a lot of people do, you are going to have to do something about it. You have to. That's the only way. I'm not trying to say that they shouldn't raise the minimum wage or that you don't deserve more. You do. You deserve more. But that's not how this fucking system works. You're stuck in it. You're stuck in this system. I was stuck in this system. I made $5.25 an hour for the first 3 years of my life of working and moved up very slowly. I was making fucking $24,000 a year all throughout the time I was working in Japan. So it's really not a lot of money I've been making in my life. At the beginning, I was doing this. But you still don't have to spend it all. Never have I lived paycheck to paycheck, ever. I've always made sure that something was going into the bank, and I ended up wasting it all in Los Angeles before I hit rock bottom of negative 5,000 in the year of 2013, where I decided that all of this shit was going to change and that it was never going to be like that again. But anyway, the thing that needs to be done is that you need to start taking care of this so that that amount goes away. And the first thing to do is to get a house. So let's talk about the priorities for fixing shit. Number one is going to be reduce the monthly spend. That's what you want first. Number two is remove rent by any means. That means if you have to, live with your parents. I know that sucks, and it may not be the right choice, but that's a way to do it. Or get a mortgage and buy a house. Even if you don't think you're going to live in the place for a while, it doesn't fucking matter. Get a mortgage, get a house, start paying it, because what happens is this 800 goes from here to here into investments for a house. It goes straight into, where is it? Debt investments. And you're paying off this debt, and every payment you make, it's your money. You can sell the house afterwards, and you can have that money back. I paid this house I bought this house for $100,000. I needed a loan. I needed a loan. I didn't have the money. So I took the debt. But after that fucking loan, I owed $80,000 on this fucking house. And every time I made a payment on this house, I was not paying some dickhole landlord. I was paying myself. When I paid that debt back, the debt went away, and when it was all the way gone, I paid it in 3 years. I started doing $2,000 payments per month on that fucking debt, and I paid that bitch off. It was like 2,500 or something. I paid that bitch off in 3 years. Guess what? I could sell this house right now, and I have a big fucking stack of bills here. They're real bills. I didn't pay any of that rent. All that loan that I paid off, all I paid was the little bit of interest that I paid. I think I paid like $8,000 of interest. And that's the only money that's gone. The rest of that money, it's all mine. I could sell this any minute. I could use this income to do whatever I want. I could go back to paying rent, and I could just have a stack of money, but I don't want to do that. But if I decide to move, all I have to do is fucking buy a new house and then sell this house and use that money to put either a down payment or more than the down payment. Like I could actually buy a house for less than what this house is worth now that it's fixed. So that is the key. The fucking remove rent by any means. If you're paying rent and you're PMing me about fucking stocks and Bitcoin, you are fucking up. Do not fucking do that. And that's what drove this here, is people PMing me who pay rent about investments. That cannot be done. It cannot be done. No weed. Weed is under groceries. Like that, I would consider weed to be under groceries. Like so are cigarettes if you're addicted to that shit. Can you fucking reduce your spend by getting rid of weed and cigarettes and beer? Fuck yes. Can you get rid of it by eating ramen all the time? Yes, of course you can. This is just an example guy. We'll talk about how this guy can fucking change his life in a bit, but in the end, all that shit's under one of these things. And for me, any sort of inebriation, all these Red Bulls, all the fucking beer I drink, anything I don't talk to you about, all that shit is fucking, that's all under groceries. Because you're not going and having some dude fucking serve your weed to you on a platter and charge you a tip. So that's not a service. That's fucking groceries. Weed's groceries. If you live in a place where it's legal, it's absolutely groceries. It's groceries. So, um, I'm going to put this here because it does count as something. But I'm going to give them all zeros. But if you're in the habit of running from the cops or have parking tickets or whatever, you do have to include this. Get this off immediately. That shit spirals out of control. The American court system, I don't know about other countries, but the American court system is designed to take poor people and to permanently make them into people who pay into the courts. That is what they do. So you have to get out of that cycle first. In fact, I'm going to put it in front of this. I'm going to make this number 0. Don't let the courts fuck you. Fight it in court. Go to court. Never don't go to court. Go to court. Do everything you can to draw things out. The way you win in court, like traffic court or parking ticket court, is to show up. You have to show up. Parking tickets are hard, but you can dispute them. But you show up, you fucking resist, you say you want a jury trial, and you start making the court spend money on you. Then the prosecutor and the court may decide that your case is not worth the expense to the court, and they may decide to cut you a deal. The the solicitor may offer you a bargain. They may offer you something that removes it from your record and that is a very small amount of money, and you can choose to take it or resist further. But you should resist in court. You should show up. You should resist. You should make the system work for you. Don't sign your rights away if you go to court, and get that shit taken care of, because that shit will fuck you. That is the fucking that's the spiral down the toilet that nobody wants. And even my fucking generic guy that's not managing his money correctly is not so stupid that he's not paying his court fines. You can see this guy's got nothing there of that problem. You do not want that shit. And obviously, by smoking weed in a place that it's illegal, you're inviting yourself to the possibility of fucking fines in court, which can really fuck you. And I don't recommend anything that involves court at all, because court sucks balls. So, I'm trying to think if I'm missing any big things, but I think this is pretty much the gist of what ends up getting spent. I'm probably missing something extreme, uh, and I know that insurance and health insurance are in different places here, but that's just because of the nature of work paying for your health insurance. And some people are going to have this as a expense, like I will when I retire. So that's going to be jacked up. But anyway, now let's start giving this guy some reality checks. So he needs $14.62, which is uh, uh, above the minimum wage, unfortunately, in America to live at this rate. Can he get under minimum wage? Fuck yes, he can. Can he save? Like, imagine this guy makes fucking 50K a year, which is a decent amount of money. Or maybe his household makes that much. Uh, how much money would he save at this point, and what should he do with it? Let's get two scenarios going. Let's make one scenario where this bitch is making minimum wage, and one where this bitch is making 50K a year. Because unfortunately, income does play a role in this. So if the guy's making minimum wage, what he has is he has 7.50 an hour. I think that's the minimum wage right now. It used to be 5.25 when I was making minimum wage, and that's times 40 times 4 roughly a week. He's making $1,200 a week, um, if it's or not a week, a month, on that. And so to do that, he's spending 23.40. So he's got to reduce this shit. Oh, that's wrong. We need to label this shit. I'm fucking this up. So requires this. What is this? This is fucking that divided by 2. That's 2 weeks. And this is hourly. And then we got this fucking shit here down here. This is minimum wage. And then we've got that many per month. And then we've got and that's horrible still. I just think that's an awful amount of money to try to make it by with. But there are ways around it. And I'll talk about some more of those ways around it as we're gonna need this is gonna go tomorrow too. But and we got fucking 50K, which is decent. But I'll tell you right now, I do make more than 50K, and this household makes significantly more than 50K. But it wasn't always like that, and I always kept above water. And there was never a moment in my fucking life where I was in debt for anything other than my house during this time period I'm talking to you about. So that's really key, is to get out of debt as well. So let's get that. Remove debt by any means. Remove non-mortgage debt by any means. Because this shit will fuck you. And if you're living on minimum wage, the temptation to take out debt so you can live a normal life is going to be huge, and you can't. You actually have to somehow scrape by with less than $1,200 a month, which is possible because I have done it, and I could do it again. I could do it next month if I wanted to. I promise you I could, because I don't pay rent. So what I really need to stay alive is this, 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 this. I don't need insurance to stay alive, but I'm just going to include it. That's $737 a month that I need. That's less than minimum wage. I just want you to fucking swallow that for a second. I don't need minimum wage to live the life I'm living pretty much right now, minus the luxuries that I have on here. And that is the point to take away if you're in minimum wage. It does suck, but I don't live a luxurious life. I do have a great I'm so lucky to have all the things I have, but I don't spend this this massive amount of money that I'm making more than minimum wage. I just fucking save every bit of it. But even if I was making minimum wage, if I cut back on the shit I don't need, I would be able to make it at 737 because I took care of rent, because I took care of debt. This is key. You can get a mortgage if you make minimum wage. You can. You should. You should make it affordable. And the other thing about rent that is this got to be 3. The other thing about rent that people don't realize when they're struggling in their life is you don't have to live where you're at. You can move. There are places out there, Montana, Tennessee, where the cost of living is dick. You could get your rent down to like 350 while you save up enough for your down payment on your house. Get your down payment on your house, wipe it out. Then live in that house and you're going to be paying dick for property taxes in a place like that. And you aren't going to pay that much to buy the fucking house either. Just the property values aren't that high. You can live in a fucking trailer for $20,000. You just spend $20,000, buy a lot, buy a fucking single wide, and you are done. You've got yourself set. That rent's gone. You can always upgrade. You can buy a better house later and sell the fucking trailer. You get all the money back. I'm telling you, that it's better than I'm not even talking about investments here, guys. No RAs, none of this shit. That's why I'm trying to fucking talk about this right now. Because too many people are fucking laser focused on how do I invest? How do I get a bunch of money? How do I make my money work for me? I'm telling you right now, before you get any of your money working for you, you have to get your life working for your money. Then your money will work for you. But if your life ain't working for your money, you're not going to be able to put it in the right spot. It's going to be fucked. If you're paying rent, you are fucking throwing your money down the toilet. Right down the toilet when you could be paying a loan off to yourself. It's a loan to yourself that you're getting your money back. You're paying yourself back when you pay a mortgage. Unlike a student loan where you're paying a school, you're paying yourself back on a mortgage. It's one of the only fucking loans I can fucking get behind. And make sure you buy something that's within your means, that even if you have a minimum wage job, that you can pay the damn mortgage off. And you can. You can make that happen. If you think you can't do this with your shit, realize that your life hurts, it's hard, but there's shit you do where you spend money on yourself you don't need to spend it on, and quit doing it for a little bit until you can get rent out. And once rent's gone, you'll have that amount of money, whatever it is, to go back and fucking reduce that mortgage payment off of it. You'll have that to spend on things for yourself again a little bit. It's fucking is it 725? All right, I'll fix that. It's still that's not going to what the fuck? Where is that? There we go. 725. Still under. If you take all the shit that I don't need, that I need to live out of there, I'm still under. How much am I under? I'm wondering that. Um, my minimum to live here. And the problem is this rent. That really, you can see the problem. If that rent was here, I would be absolutely fucked. But I'm not because there is no rent. So I could live just like this working at McDonald's, no problem. And I would be able to save a little bit. How much would I be able to save? That is the question I want to know the answer to right now. So Steam, no. Food, yes, but it would be less. Let's put that food at a reasonable like level to stay alive, like 300. Again, tax must be paid, uh, and insurance must. Let's say insurance must be paid, childcare must be paid for me. But let's assume you don't have a kid, and instead that childcare is your food. Again, that's what I did last time for 737. For me, it's actually let's just call this not mine because for me, I've got to take care of my girl. So it's going to be more expensive for my minimum, but I could still get under the minimum wage. Oops, I fucked that up. You could save $423 a month if you're living like that toward your down payment or whatever you got to do. And as soon as you get that out, your rent goes away. As soon as you get that fucking mortgage, your rent will go away and your payment will go down. And that payment will be to you. And then after you pay that bitch off, it should be your priority. And now, number 4, again, number 4 is pay your fucking mortgage off immediately. All right, a mortgage has an interest rate annually, usually of between 3 and 4%. Some of them are better nowadays, but that it's a big percentage. If I came to you right now and said, I have an investment opportunity for you, I guarantee you, without any risk, that you will make 4% annually off of anything you stick in this account. No risk. Guaranteed. 4% annually. Would you take that investment? Most people would. Most people would be like, hell yes, that is the most safe thing ever. That's what paying your fucking mortgage off is. It is actually you gaining that 4% annually back from the bank. So do that. Do that before you put a dime in stocks, because you can lose on stocks. You can't lose paying your fucking mortgage off. So pay that bitch off. It is very well, you can definitely fucking make a trailer work for you, for sure. Like, that is actually recommended by me compared to, again, living in an apartment that you're renting. Anything is better than rent. You are fucking sucking someone's dick right now if you're paying rent. You don't know it, but that's what you're doing. Some dickhole landlord with their dickhole dick, even if they're a woman, doesn't matter. You're still sucking that dick if you are fucking paying a landlord. That is what you are doing. Someone is profiting off of you being alive by doing nothing. Fuck all. And if any landlords come in, yeah, I fixed the property. Fuck you. You're a fucking landlord. You're not doing dick. Someone's paying you. Period. That's what's happening. So you can sit